Hey, I'm hopping on here this afternoon and I thought I would go ahead and share a project or something with you. Let me go ahead and plug in my little camera for this for this event. Alrighty. I had unplugged it because I wanted to make some copies, and so I moved everything around. I'm going to give a second just so people can get the notice and see that we're going live and join if they'd like to. It's a wonderful day. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. How are you doing? How is your this is called the Twixmas time of year. Isn't that cute? The Twixmas. And all that means is basically that it's the 27th through the 30th, I think is what it is, um that time period. And I love this time period because it always for me feels like it's a time where I can just sort of lay back and breathe. And of course, right now I'm opened up my membership, so I'm not taking a lot of downtime and breathing because I'm sending out emails and messages and creating things to share. So, but it's all fun. It's things I love to do. I'm going to see if I add this. Yep, that's not exactly where I want. So I'm going to take me off the picture for a minute. Add that back. Yes, that's the order we needed because I'm going to enlarge this. Hey, when you pop on, say hello, tell me who's here. Give me a shout, tell me how you are doing today. This is a really great, we have great weather here. But my mom was peeking at the northern states up where my children are, and she's like, oh my goodness, it is so cold up there. Anyway, we're not here to talk weather. What we are here to do is to create some art. I wanted to share a couple of things with you. One, I've got my membership open just for 2 days, and the reason that I'm doing that is it's coming to the end of the year, and next year I am going to be increasing the price a little bit. And the reason I'm increasing isn't necessarily for more money; it's going to cost me more. But I started sending out to those in the U.S. Because mailing is still a little reasonable here. Packages and that where I can send some information, some positive things, some little surprises, some happy mail basically, which is what I love to do is send some surprises in the mail. And so several times throughout the year, I'm going to start doing that, and that will help to offset the cost. So if you would like to be a member, you've been kind of thinking about it, you're not quite sure if you want to make the investment, now is the time because come January, that price will go up. And by joining in these next 2 days, it will lock you into the price that it's been for this past year, which is way under most of the artists that are out there and do the same thing. So I am really happy to be here. If you have no clue who I am and you're just showing up for the first time, I am Kathy Freeman, and my website is kathyfreemanart.com. You can get to it by kathyfreemanart.com. That will take you to the main page. Or if you want to just cruise around into the fun area where my members get to hang out, type in myartsisters.com, and it'll take you to the little art village. There, the little art village is where they have an easy place to go to find the information that they're looking for. You know, that's I've been in several memberships myself in the past, and it gets confusing for me as to now where am I supposed to go? Where is it? How do I get there? And so and then a lot of times, some of them will have complicated names. My Art Sisters is the title of what we are. So it's easy. I went ahead and bought that URL so that they could easily get to where they need to. I also show them how to put it on the front of their phones or on their if they're using something else like an iPad or something, I teach them. I give them a little video to show them how they can put it on the front face of their phone. Shows up as a little sunflower, and then they can easily click on that, and it opens up to the page of where they're to be. So that is myartsisters.com is where that little art village is. Now, the important part for you today is I'm going to be putting in there in camper number 3 this template. So if you would like to download it, it's not there yet. I just drew it. But if you'd like to get that, then you can download that and copy it off and use it. The neat thing about this is, as you can see right here, I always love to create templates for my members because this is the reason. Number one, they can gives them something that they can easily, put down on paper. A lot of times when we get our art paper, that white, they call it the white page scare or something like that, the fear of the white page. Well, it's because it's so beautiful and white. We hate to put anything on it. And if you're afraid you're going to make a mistake, etc. But having a template, it gives that opportunity to put that down, put some tracing paper. If you don't know what this is called tracing paper. It's graphite paper. And you can get it at the local art store, craft store, or on Amazon. Graphite paper. You can put that down, put your template on, and trace it. And we're going to be doing that here in a second for this particular project. If you don't feel like doing a big project, I love to create templates for them because when they are having those days that they want to do something creative, but they just don't want to pull out all of the stuff, they can take the template and it becomes a wonderful coloring page instantly, a beautiful coloring page. So I was toying with the idea that I want to just do it as a coloring page today. So I made myself several copies. But I thought, no, well, I've got you on here. We're going to use the watercolors and we're going to go a little bit more into this project than just the coloring page concept. But if you would like, you can download that. Now, what I have here on this template, I've gone ahead and I've taken my watercolor paper, and this size I like to use quite often. It is a 6x8 watercolor. Probably my most favorite is this little size right here, the 4x6s. I love that because it gives me just enough space to do something, but it's not so much space that I've got to figure out, oh, what am I going to do with all of that? And my camera went a little blurry there. Let's get that back. See if we can pull that back. It'll unblur itself. I came across, let's see here. Let's give it a second. There we go. Hello, little camera. I came across these cute, cute little images. And is she not precious and sweet? Yes, she is. Hello. Thanks for the thumbs up. Go ahead and post your name so I know who's here and I know who I'm visiting with today. Love to have your just type it in the side. Anyway, I think she is so sweet and adorable. And of course, drawing something similar to her would be a great thing to do. But I can also do what I'm going to do today on a smaller sheet and create it that way. What are we doing today? You just popped on. You're probably wondering, what are we doing today? I am going to create this image right here. And I call it Balloon Wishes. This is something I did for the members a couple years back. And the concept of why we did this project was because at New Year's, I like to get some hot helium balloons, hot air, not hot air, but helium balloons. And go ahead and my kids are no longer at home. But what we used to do is I'd have them write out their wishes for the next year, what it was that they wished for, what kind of things that they were wanting to plan for or dream about, et cetera, et cetera. Write it on a piece of paper and we would wrap it up and tie it to the strings. And then they would take their balloon and send it off in the sky on New Year's Eve. And, I remember doing that several times with another family when we lived in Branson, and it was so fun, and it just brought a lot of giggles and joy into our life. So I thought I would bring that back today, and we're going to draw this little girl. Like I said, if you're just on, you will have hi, Patricia. You're watching from Georgetown. Good to have you. And you're in Texas. I am in Tyler. Do you know where Tyler's at? I don't know where Georgetown is, but I'll look it up and find out where that's at. I am in Tyler, Texas. I'm about 90 miles east of Dallas, out in the where the beautiful pine trees and that are. All right. So back to this, what we're doing. Um, watercolor paper, tape down, ready to go. Template, I will upload that and put it in on Rose Capital. Yes. Yes, the Rose Capital. It is. It's beautiful roses. I will upload this into camper number 3 on my website. How do you get to the website? kathyfreemanart.com. Up in the menu, you can type in, you'll look and you'll see, and it'll say Little Art Village. Click on that. It'll take you to the little art village that I use for my members, and look for camper number 3. And you can get this download from there later, in a little bit later today. I'll upload it for you. A quicker way, and the way that my members do it, is they just type in myartsisters.com, takes them right to that page. Bam, boom. It's easy to get to. They don't ever have to search around for where's all the stuff. Where is it at, Kathy? They know right where to hit their library and get all their information. You are north of Austin. All right. My son used to live in Austin. He's no longer here in Texas. He's up north, but north of Austin. Well, welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful area there too. Loved going down there. All right, so let's get started with what we've got happening here. I've got my paper, tape this down. I'm going to put her on here. And originally when I was going to come on here today, I thought, oh, we'll just color this and just, use it as a little coloring page and as a little template. But I thought, no, let's go ahead and make it into a full project. So give me a second. Let's trace her down onto this. And I always have to peek because, yep, see that? A lot of times I will get confused on which side's the shiny side, which side is not. And because it starts to look all the same to me once it starts getting wrinkled and everything. All right, let's try again. And this, if you want to draw it yourself, you don't have to have the template. She's quite easy to do if you'd like to try it. Basically, when I drew her, I drew the circle first, kind of an oval for her head, created the little bow, and then I decided, okay, where's her arm? So I drew a straight line across with my pencil. That helped me to understand here's where her shoulders are. And then from that point, I went off to an angle because she's reaching for those to hold those balloons up because they are lifting her up off the ground. And then this one, I just decided, well, we'll just let it hang down on the side. Because, usually when you're doing that, you kind of just have your arms hanging down or it's off something. So straight across and then off at an angle. Let's just make kind of a bit of a rectangle for the hand, curve the corners so it softens it, and then come down the arm. And we're going to make a little bit of a curve. And we'll just give her like she's in her nightgown. She's out in her nightgown, standing out there. It's just about midnight, and she's ready to let off these balloons with all of her new wishes for the coming year. Okay, just a minute. We'll have her traced. I like to use these pencils. They're not super expensive. They're Bics. You can click and get a sharp edge, so I don't have to sit and stop and sharpen my pencil. All right. Make her little bow here. Usually for my classes, when I'm working with the members, I have all this done because the classes will usually go a little longer, and they know that's, what to do. So I get it all set up for him. All righty, so let's make sure we've got her down there okay. Oh, goodness, we're having a bit of a trouble. There we go. Forgot her little shoes, her little slippers. Add those. The ground. I'm going to move over here. I shouldn't have moved her, but I did. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to put her balloons up here, and then I'll pull the strings down. All right. Let's see how this works out. It's always good to tape down. If you have to move your, like I didn't have large enough piece of graphite paper here today. And so if you have to move it, it's always a good idea to tape down the template, because it's impossible to go back and, realign your pattern, your template back up after everything's moved. But these are just balloons. I can draw the lines on there. It's not going to be a big deal. And I am peeking to make sure that I've drawn the balloons completely, because sometimes you can leave little parts off, like these bottom parts right here. Okay, I think I got them all this time. I got them all. All righty. Put that down. Can you see that all right? We're just going to bring the strings down like so. There we go. We've got all that down there ready to go. Okay. We can keep this straight watercolor, or we could turn it into a little bit of a mixed media. To do that, I would probably add some papers. I would rip some papers and create a background for that. I keep getting these little marks on here because I'm messing around with my pencil, aren't I? Rinse that off, put that down. Or we could use something else, as I love to use stamps and that on here. And we could use these. Isn't this a cute one? Timeless. And punch those on there. Might go ahead and do that just for the fun of it. So let me go ahead and put it on. That little clock. And I'm going to line it up so it makes a little more sense. I don't know. I don't think I'll put the word timeless. Do you want to make sure that your the black, the things that you use are permanent, because if you start using water and that on it, it'll obviously it'll all bleed. So we got that. Grab myself. Got myself a little kit here I put together to keep, because I travel back and forth to my art studio and I want a large brush, because I'm going to go ahead and do something with the background to start with. Do you like to watercolor? Yes, I can see. Great, great. Patricia, do you like to watercolor? What is your favorite mediums when you're creating and you're doing something? What do you like to use? What's your favorite thing? Not sure what color I want to start with. Let's go with this wonderful blue. And before I put on, I'm going to wet the paper here. You do like it. You're learning. I do not profess to be the proficiently at watercolor, but always love to play in it. Love, love, love it. And I think that's just simply because it flows so freely. And the other reason is I love when you wet it and you drop that color into it, it just starts to flow. I love the textures that it can create. I'm gonna carefully kind of go around these balloons. But one of the inherent beautiful qualities about watercolor is the fact that it doesn't always stay in its lines. It is definitely free. I put out a quote today. Let's see if I can find where it is really quick. Sorry to take the detour here, but I just found this. Creative people are curious, flexible, persistent, and independent with tremendous spirit of adventure and the love of play. Hi, Sue. You're here. I'm glad to have you here. Um, yes, we are very curious people, but that's what I think about love about the watercolor is it can be so flexible. And it's definitely not tied down, is it? I mean, it goes wherever. I mean, it'll stop if the area's not, if you haven't put it there and it's not wet. The colors are beautiful, aren't they, Patricia? I do love the colors too. Okay. I was thinking about, I don't want to make it completely like a black or whatever. I mean, we're talking, Sue, welcome. You probably won't go back and listen to the beginning. What this is this is a project you may have done. Sue's one of my previous members. This is called the wishing balloons. And being that it's almost New Year's Eve, this was a tradition I had with my children, and we did it with other families where we would tie our wishes in that on the ends of the balloon string and then let off the balloon come midnight for the coming year. All the things that we were goals, the wishes we had, et cetera, et cetera. Isn't that pretty? I mean, I like that. Some people may not care for that, but I love that. You just have to kind of. So she's got her balloons up in the air, this little gal. Also, I mentioned earlier too that the template for this is going to be in Camper 3. It's not there right now. I have to. So if you don't feel like pulling out your watercolors or you don't want to paint it, this would make a great acrylic painting also. Then you can, ooh, look at that rich, deep color. Then you can just use it as a template, use it as a coloring page. Let's flip her over. Sure, I stay in view here. And color her. It's one thing I do like about giving the members templates, like I said, is that it enables the opportunity to just use them as coloring pages. A lot of times our creativity gets halted because we lose that creative energy. We lose it. It gets drained in the everyday, got to get this done, got to get that done. And we need to be feeding it and nurturing, keeping it fed and going. And sometimes it's just hard if you're in the middle of something, you've got a lot going on. It's just hard to keep it going. So that's why it's nice to have maybe a coloring page or something close by that you can, because with every time that you pull something out, you're not depleting your creative energy, you are feeding it. Man, I should make that as a quote, huh? All righty, let's add a little more water here and let's get some fun things happening, like what's over there happening down here. Grab that blue, drop it in there. And I can come back, if it's dark, I could come back with my white pen, the Jelly Roll pen, and create those lines. All right. She is just having, now this is where, and this is what's challenging when I'm trying to do a demonstration, is this part, which is just the play with the color, let it do its thing, I could spend a good hour on. And so I find it a little challenging for myself personally when I'm videoing these classes for my members, because I have to, they're not going to want to sit there and watch me play for an hour. So I have to keep myself on track. But for you watching, give yourself that permission to take the time to kind of play around and experiment with it. All right, I see more drained. Let's see, more. My move drained my creative because these are an endless list of tasks of getting into this. Yes, Sue. Sue just moved. Well, it's been several months ago, but moved to a brand new house. She purchased, and there is nothing more training than a move, is there? And all the things that are entailed in getting things back up and organized, etc. So many things. I'm going to bring some dark color back over here. And let's bring a little bit in here. Do I have my spray gun? Another thing to do is put the color down and then use your little spray, your spritzer, and spray it. Get it to move around. You can hold that up and grab some water to it. Really get some color on your brush and hit that and let that drop itself down and create those wonderful textured fillings. We're talking about, hello, I see we got a few more here. Great to have you. Put your name in the comments if you would. Tell me where you're from. Okay. And you're going to go through a period too with your art. Have you noticed this, where you're doing something and you're like, oh my goodness, this looks horrible. I don't know. Do you ever say that? I do. Sometimes I'll be working along with it and I'll go, oh no, this just looks like a mess. And I have to just grab my little self and have a little talking with myself and say, keep going, because every single piece of work goes through what's considered the ugly stage. You know, just like the little duckling, the teenager going through its awkward stage where they feel so awkward. Same thing with our art. Same thing with our art. It goes through that little stage. Okay, we're going to blend this out a little bit. I don't want to lose what's happening over there. Another thing, let's just try something. Okay. Ooh, I tell you something that's really cool to do, if I've got something around me, is to get some plastic wrap. Oh, I love this. I love doing this. It's actually in one of the projects coming up for January that I've got videoed for the members. Is we're doing something similar to this. Take your plastic wrap. And now this is not, this is plastic, but it's not like your, like you put over your food and that. So I'm not, let's see. I'm thinking, I'm assuming it will give us the same effect. And you kind of need it to dry there for a little bit, okay? But I am on a time restraint, so I'm going to lift it up, and it did create a little texture there. Isn't that neat? So let's try it over here. Got a lot of water happening there. We drop some color down. Okay. Scrunchy it up. Scrunchy it up. And, you know, if you got like, what is that? Saran wrap, whatever, the plastic over food, it works really great. And it's wonderful for textures. I did not have to let mine sit there and dry in the project just for a few minutes. And then I was able to pull it up, and it just created this beautiful background of texture, something to start the whole project with. Let's see. Let's see how this one works. Well, we've got a little bit happening there, don't we? Let's come over here. Just to give some of that. Okay, I'm going to dry this really quick. Try that, see what happens. Okay, that dried it really good. I've got it taped down. So typically I like to turn it over and dry the back because it makes it flatten itself back out again. But this didn't. Hey, we've got few more here joining us. Go ahead and put your name in the comments if you would, and say hello. Tell me where you're from. Great, great, great to have you. All right, what we're doing here, I've got the template. I've already put it on watercolor paper. The template will be available to you in Camper 3. You can listen to, when this is all over with, you can go back and listen to all of that. I won't take up the time to keep talking about it. Let's keep going here. All right. Now, I don't know. I want to switch over. One thing I love about being a mixed media artist is I've got, the sky's the limit on what I can use and what I can put. So I want to switch over and start using some of my watercolor pencils on her, on her little outfit in that. I also would like to use this as a stamp, which I'm going to do up here in a second. And I'm not going to be concerned about creating for you a beautiful finished project. All right. I just want to create some fun time to do something creative and build up that energy, that wonderful creative energy. And how do we build our wonderful creative energy? It's by doing something creative. It's by taking the time to do that. All right, in my packet here, I've got this great little art packet that I pack with me wherever I go. Looking for, I'll use this ink. Hopefully, I haven't used this one in a while. Let's hope it's not dry. Okay, I've got this great little stamp. And I can see it's not dry because I've got excess there that I don't need. I want this to be faint, so I'm going to do that. Take a little bit off, and we're going to come over here and put that in, like a little message in the background, a little hidden message. When you were a girl, when you were a young child and that, did you like treasure hunts? I love treasure hunts. I love treasure hunts. And so when you're creating your art, it's kind of fun to create little stories and things inside. All right. I know what I'm putting some of this around here. Right. We're going to add the clock because it represents the changing of a year. Rubber stamps are so fun to use, aren't they? Okay. I'm going to try to get that directly, the 12 and whatever up. Oh, we could. Might as well. There we go. Okay, all of a sudden I've got something that's very strong and powerful and it's overpowering everything, isn't it? Don't panic. Let's just keep going because I'm going to come back and do something else with that. But let's work on her for a second. And instead of watercoloring her in, like I said, I wanted to try pulling out my watercolor pencils. We can give her the lavender, a couple of shades of that. We're going to do her hair. Let's make her hair brown. We got a little gray. Little hands. Put those in. Let's do her hair. If you don't have watercolor pencils, you could use colored pencils. You could paint this in if you want to. Now, we got that. Where's my little brush? Here it is. It's looking like a pencil for a minute. Just hit those with the water and boom. Okay. Let's come back with keep her outfit. We'll do a little lavender nightgown. You know, colors are very symbolic too. So as you, that might be something as you're picking your colors and that you might think about what colors represent. You don't have to all the time, but it's just something fun to do if you're wanting to kind of create a story with it. Lavender, purples are very kind of that dreamy, that imaginative colors. I know purple has always been considered a royal color, something royal. Is there a brand of watercolor pencils that you recommend? These are Fine Touch watercolor pencils. I do not have one that I personally recommend. I know that basically all of them you can find, if you go to the art store, and there are some that are gonna be more expensive than others, but, uh, check your budget, you know? These have worked beautifully for me forever, the Fine Touch, and I know I just got them at the local, Hobby Lobby, not to put a plug in for Hobby Lobby right there, but Amazon. I'm a little more particular about my watercolor itself. Although I do love this set, I'm not going to show you the name of it because I don't want to be. But I noticed that these are, and I've talked about this in the past with my members, these are chalky. They're a little chalkier. So it takes more applying them to get them on. Let me show you the other ones that I do love. I've got right here. Prima is the name, and I've got quite a few boxes. I was looking for something that was small that I could transport back and forth because I have an art studio out at our farm, and depending on the weather and what's going on, I need things I can move back and forth easily. Now I have filled this little baby up. It only comes typically with a row here and a row here, and the center is open, but I put all of my bright warm colors in this one. In here I've got more of my earth tones, and yes, she's got a third one. This one right here is, I don't use this one very often, Vintage Pastels, but it's great if you need something. See, I've even pulled from it a little bit, but it's great for some of the skin tones, or if you're doing something and you need that kind of vintage pastel look, then this is also, but see, it only 2 rows here is what you normally get. So I hate to show these too often because I think it's confusing to people when they see that, oh my goodness, where'd she get all of those? All righty. Let's come back in and add another color on top of that, layering the color helps to really add dimension to something. And then it's great. We're going to put it down here, kind of where the shadows. Think about, the shadows of where her outfit. Down the bottom of that sleeve. And for her bow, let's just go bright. Maybe a pink, a yellow. Let's see if this yellow will show up. Yep. I went with this yellow because of the complement that it is. Therefore, it will stand out. Complement colors are more dynamic. They will cause your artwork to pop and to show up, be more vibrant. Analogous, I could have gone a pink here or whatever, those more blue tones, that would be an analogous. And that's more relaxing, etc. So I wanted her to pop a little bit. Okay, where did I put that brush, girls? There we go. Let's just add. Start popping in the water here and moving that color. And blend it a little bit. There we go. Her little nightgown. There she is. So the more art we do, the more supplies we accumulate. I need to possibly do a purge first. I'm doing a no buy thing. Exactly. Use what you got. Use what you've got. That's what I'm doing today. I did get myself a treat for Christmas, but and I'm going to share it with the members this coming year, but I don't ever I try to do things classes as you remember that doesn't require them to go out and purchase and to buy new things. All right. What color should we put for the ground here? Any suggestions? Anything? I'm kind of feeling the green in the watercolor over here. Might be fun to put that down. Got a little blue in my brush still. Before I do dip it in, I'm going to clean the brush. And then we'll go over to that green and add that. Let me open up. You can see. This one I use a lot. It's one of my favorites. It's that apple color green. I like it because it's such an earthy. Whoa. Isn't that awesome? I love it when it does that. Just love it when it takes off like that. Mix it a little bit, make kind of a blue-green right here. Like that. Just going to leave it, let it dry. It's always good to dry in between your layers. That way you get that layered look. Okay, it's going to dry a little more, but I'm going to move on to the balloons. Give me some colors for the balloons, ladies. What do you think for colors for the balloons? And I'll put those on. I want to take something and mess around with it. And that is my gesso. I always like to take the gesso and put a layer of that sometimes on. It's already starting to come up a little bit, which is just fine. Use my fingers. I want this to be super light. I'm going to put a layer over where the inking is. What type of watercolor paper are you using? I'll show you right here. Master's Touch. It's just more of an economical. It's not your expensive watercolor. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. I hate advertising for people. I mean, Michael's is good, whatever, but I usually shop Hobby Lobby. Master's Touch, and I always get it when they have it on sale. I grab myself a few supplies of that because it goes up a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, let's do this. The magic of gesso. This is another part where I can get lost and just enjoy myself, is adding this gesso right over the top, hiding some of it, leaving some of it so it pops out, creating that mystery of what's behind there, what's going on. Now, I'm going to add just a little bit here to kind of break up. I have some really dark writing, but I want to leave some of it dark and I want to break up some of it, okay? Sue, you're trying to rejoin, but it says an account still exists, but my password doesn't work. Help. Okay, well, let's talk after. I won't do it right now with everybody online here. But we can communicate afterwards. You can go in and where it says new passwords, when you go in, you type in and you're supposed to put your password underneath. It says forgot password. Go down to forgot password and type in a new password down there. Okay, now I'm just playing. You're thinking, what on earth is she doing? I'm just playing. So let me preference that right now. And I always like to play with the art sister, with the work first while the art sisters are watching the videos. I do everything video because time is precious. And like it's so hard to say, okay, we're going to do it on this time and pick a night that works for everybody. That's impossible. So I love it, the fact that I can create a video, put it in their library, and they watch it when it's the most convenient for them. I schedule, I don't pop everything in there at once. I schedule it out so that the different projects come throughout the month. That way it's not overwhelming. And it's, not gives them a chance to work on a project. If they're not interested in it, then they can go back in the library and find something that, from years past. I mean, one thing I know that there is a group I wanted to learn some, well, I'm always careful because I don't want to say anything that would, be harmful or anything to anybody on there. But I wanted to improve some writing skills and stuff. And I noticed that when I joined, I had to be in the group for 6 months before the library opened up and gave me some other options to choose from. I don't do that. I figure if you're a member, you're a member. And so everything that I've done for the last 2 years is in there. You can cruise through, and now that's kind of interesting. Something neat going on. I love to play with the gesso and create texture, pull things that are too strong, send them back into the background so that they don't, overpower the piece of work. And we can come back and try to put, usually watercolor doesn't work so well when there's, a surface over the top of it. But hey, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're here to experiment, right? All right. You know what might be kind of fun is to take that and to turn that into a moon or something. I think that'd be kind of fun. So I'm not going to use that yet. These will bleed, so I need to do that. Do things in layers. Make sure that what you're going to put on can dry. It won't bleed into the next. All right, let's take our brush. I'm going to wet this a little bit. And we're going to turn this little clock into a moon up here. I'm using my gesso. You could also use white fluid acrylic. What does that mean? What's white fluid acrylic? If you're new and you're not familiar with that, it's just acrylic paint that's very fluid. It's so I put it in a little jar there and I can move it around. All right. I don't have any. Does anybody giving me what type of watercolor paper? I already considered that. Anybody give me some ideas for the balloons? Any ideas to paint the balloons, the colors to use? I've got quite a few here I can choose from in this palette. So just what's one of your favorite colors? Post one of your favorite colors that you love to use. I know one of mine is always green and pink or red, burgundy kind of. I do love the complements of those together. Another thing to do definitely is always stand back from your work. It's for me, it's easy to look up into the camera up here on the screen and I can pink, purple, and red. Thank you, Patricia. Let's do it. Look up and see because when you stand back, it's going to be different than when you're looking straight down on it. All the time, it will be different. Every single time. Let's put, for the fun of it, some of this fluid acrylic. If you've never seen it before, kind of see how it, and it doesn't come like this. It comes in a larger squirt, larger bottle, but I always break mine down into smaller, then I can work with it. See, it's just neat thing about using this little hint tip, whatever, is it's great for if you want that drippy look. Wonderful for that. Okay. Okay, I'm about covering up my little clock, aren't I? See if we go back and kind of lift with water. Lift some of that up. Bigger brush would be helpful than that poor little guy working so hard. Let's get a bigger one up here. We can lift some of that up. Like so. Take your paper towel and tap it where it's wet. And there it comes back. Okay. And I'm going to go back over here to where the midnight is. And I'm going to bring that one back because this whole story is this little activity happens at midnight. Right when that clock strikes 12, you let those balloons fly. There. Bringing that curve back in a little bit. I've gone outside. There's our little clock. All right, let's get on the stick here and let's get these balloons painted. Now, I've had some water splotch on here. Come back. You can, and as you lift it up, it will help to add some texture if you want. Okay, what colors did you say here? One yellow, pink, purple, burgundy, pink, purple, red. Okay, well, we've got the pinks and the purples and the burgundies. Let's go for it. Clean out this brush a little bit. Right here, this whole little family of color. Can you even see it? Nope, you can't, can you? Let me see if I move this over so you can see my palette. I like to pull the camera down close so that when I'm doing something, it can be seen easily, but it tends to, this is a terrible brush. We're going to move over to something else here. Don't know why that one is separate. I need to take a look. Probably needs a good cleaning. Okay, we're going to turn this upside down so I'm not leaning too far over it. And we're going to go wet on dry. Wet on dry gives a very strong, well, I use it because I can get a very strong, vibrant color. You're probably wondering, why does she keep that tape on that paper if it's already coming off of the little thing it's on? Because you'll see at the end, I love, Sue's familiar with this. I really love that sharp edge that it creates, that sharp, clean, crisp edge that it gives us. Okay, one balloon. A yellow. Let's go for this kind of. Let's open up to. Don't know. There it is. There it is. Right. What's the old saying? My grandmother used to say this to me. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. When something's right in front of your eyes and you can't see it, you're like, ah. All right, let's put yellow right here. Beautiful. Have you been thinking about some of the wishes for next year? Think about them. You should do this if you can. Send them up in a balloon. Okay, got our yellow. Patricia, thanks for coming. I have a 2:00 appointment. I'll be catch the end of the replay. Yes, it'll be posted on my page. You can find it there. All righty. Let's go for the purple. Okay. And the purple's pretty close to that pink. So let's mix a color in it. Let's take this purple over here and add to it. We probably need it to dry a little bit, so get the dryer. Okay. Let's put a layer of this one over the top of that one. And I'm going to leave. I'm not going to go all over. I'm just do a little bit. And let's come back with this blue. I don't know, for the fun of it. Remember, you got to experiment. You got to take the adventure. And we need a red. Okay. If you don't like the color, you can come back, kind of dab it real quick. Lift it up a little bit. We'll use this for shading. I'm going to come over to this red because it's got blue undertones. It's one of those blue reds. You know, the Christmas red is a blue red. And it just will feel like it belongs there rather than. Okay. Got our balloons. We are getting close to being finished here, and I appreciate if you've stuck around. Let me find this is a jelly roll. If you've never seen this before, they are wonderful. Let's dry it. You don't want to do it if it's wet. Like I said, I like to do the back. I like to do the back just because see how it starts to kind of warp a little bit, and you can get it to lay itself back flat. Okay. Do these little white strings. Can't see it too well, but there we go. You can see that better. If you want to come back in, you can find my black. Use this gray. We'll go around her with our gray. You can use a black. The same. We want to get her to kind of pop out a little bit more, stand out a little bit. So this creates that little shadow to help her to bring her out a little bit more so she stands out. A lot of times you can, you might outline. Well, this is like an outline, but it's a little softer than using using a pen. I could come back in with I use these a lot, the Microns pens. Love those. But it does leave a really harsh, sharp line. Okay. Paper towel. And I don't want it to be that harsh. So if you use like a charcoal pencil, works good. The watercolor pencil works great. And you can create that shadow on her. And I'm actually going to bring it up a little bit too, like her arm right in there. And as I'm wetting it, I don't think you can see very well, but I'm pulling it onto her sleeve, pulling it back and forth onto her sleeve. And that gives it that feeling of being a little rounded rather than just being flat. So really the final, after you kind of get everything down, your final is to go back and start working on the detailing of it. If you're thinking about, well, what's the steps? Create your background. And put in the subject matter, and then come back in and start working on the detailing of it, which it can be, as extensive as you want, or it doesn't have to be a lot. Okay, I'm going to show you something here. I've got a lot of water, so I'm going to lift some of this. because when I touch this with my it's already wet, look, it pulls that really quick because it's already wet there. So if you get a little too much, then you just make sure you have your paper towel close by. That's my hint for the day. And you can lift it. Just tap on it and lift it up like so. Just like that. Yes. So we'll put a little bit of shadow up on the top of her sleeve. Going right over that. And soften it with the paper towel. See, that's making her pop out a little bit more, isn't it? All right. Let's go here for the bow. And I'm going to go ahead and wet that because it makes it go so quick. This is a nice brush. Look how long and narrow that is. Isn't that a nice brush? It's great if you need to do like lines. You just put it down, pull it across. Great little brush. It's got a lot of water on it though. Let's pull some of that off. Okay, I'm just going to wet the area here and then come back over with my pencil. And notice I'm not like doing every single. Okay. Help that to stand out a little better. Pull some of that off. Let's go in for her hair. Just dunk that down. Okay. Lift some of that. I'm using the pencil. Just a little bit here and there. Get that close so you can kind of see what I'm doing. All right. Put a little bit around on her head. Okay, I'm just creating a shadow. Oops. A lot of times when you use your paper towel, it'll just pull it right back up. So, you know, it may take a few times applying it. Just be patient with it. Just play with it. So that's half the fun of the whole thing, isn't it? Is the actual playtime of it. Okay. I am going to, definitely want to make sure your things are dry before you start applying these. These pens are expensive. So I am going to come back though, and I want that defined, that line real defined right here. So I'm using the pen to just create some of that definition. Okay. All right. There we go. Now, before I take off the edges and that, one thing else too, it's always fun. See, I told you I just get going and I have a lot of fun creating these things, and I need to stop so that it doesn't go on forever. But just put a little bit down there. Let's make a shadow around some of these just to kind of get them to pop out a little bit more. Grab my brush. I was said earlier that in our group, I do everything by video and pop it into their library. But I do love the time when we get together. I come together with them on a Tuesday, and we do have a set time for that. So anybody that can joins in. Excuse me. We meet on Zoom, and that way, I've got a couple of ladies that don't like to show their faces. Excuse me. And so that's super cute because they'll just put up a little picture, they'll put up something there that they can have, that represents them. All right. Final touch. This is Distressed Oxide. Get it over there, Kathy, so they can see it. I will put it around the edges before I lift the tape. It really gives a neat texture to the thing. And I'm going to add a little heavier down here. I've got this wonderful green and turquoise, and I'm going to add this brown to it. If you get a little bit much and you're thinking, ooh, that might be more than what I want, wet a brush, wet over it. It is not permanent, so it definitely needs to be your last layer. And you can lift it off. I'm going to play with it there a little bit. Okay. Just put some of this around here. Might even bring some of it over into this night sky that creates shadowy areas. I think I did I do that as a video? No, I didn't create a video of this. But this one, I got my other one. This is all gesso right in here. And white acrylic, I used a little white acrylic on this moon, but this is the gesso. And then came back in and used the watercolor and just put some back in, added some more gesso on top. So I kept layering it to give that kind of cloudy, misty look and feel to it. So if you do something, you're not really happy with how it turned out, just keep working with it, because there was a point in that little fun project I was doing that I was like, oh, I don't like what's happening here. Just keep working with it. Get yourself to keep going. And just like right then, I put that brown down. I was like, oh my goodness, that is way too much brown. But came back with my brush, lifted some of it up, and I love how it creates that dark area, the light. So fun. Let's do a little bit more brown here. Let's use the water to create a little texture in it. You'll see as it dries what I'm talking about. Get that color on there. It's still kind of wet. That's why it's doing that. That is going to be awesome. That is going to be awesome. Let's add a little more green back here. You just go back and play. I'm going to grab that. I personally really like that kind of dark little thin line, and I love it how the watercolor bleeds itself down. So I'm going to put some of that around her little nightgown. Then add the water to this so that it will bleed down. Okay. You can use your paper towel to kind of tap at it and lift a few areas. There. Great texture. Just adds a lot of interest to that. Let's lift off the tape and we'll call her complete. See that? Great. I love that. Oh, thanks, Sue. I'm glad that you're coming back. Yeah, that's one thing about my membership. You can come and go. Come and go. What works best for you. You're not signed up. You're stuck with me. Not at all. All righty. There we go. All right. There we go. There we go. Balloon wishes. Thank you for joining me today. And just to let you know, like I said in the beginning, the membership is open today and tomorrow, and it will shut it down. I wanted to bring it out one more time. I am opening it up now because next year I'm going to be raising the price a little bit higher. Why? Because I have the best time sending out Happy Mail, and mail is expensive. So I need to cover some of that cost so that I can do that. This past for Christmas time, I sent out a little surprise. The gals did not know it was coming, but I sent out a surprise to them. And in that surprise were these cards. I really think it's important to keep our mind positive and to keep things in front of us that really lift our thinking and help us. And so there was this card in it. Let me see. I've got them right over here. Peace and joy. I am a source of peace and joy to others. You know, sometimes we feel like we're not. And then this one, I ask God today for a feeling of harmony and well-being. Today, I make the decision to do all that I can do, and what I can't, I will ask for God's help. I am given wisdom, clarity of thought, and a calmness that speaks out to assure others. These were the two that I handed out and I sent to them as a Happy Mail. If you join these next 2 days, you're going to still be at the price that it's been all year long for me. But then come in January, I am going to be upping that price to help cover for the cost of this. Once you join, you're locked into that price. So each time that I go up, you do not. And that's the benefit of doing that. These I would like to send out come January. I'm committed to all that I do with the faith to move a mountain, releasing all the old negative stories that are told in my mind. How often as artists do we tell these terrible stories to ourselves? Oh, I can't do that. Oh, that looks awful. Oh, I just blah, 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 blah. Okay. So we're not going to do that anymore, girls. We're going to stay positive in what our thinking. I know that I am cherished, worthy. And if my members are watching, I'm sorry. This is meant to be a surprise for you. I wanted to send this out as another surprise, but oh, spoiler. Anyway, I won't read them all, but I've got a couple that are coming out this month for them. All righty. So thanks for joining me. Go to kathyfreemanart.com. You will find there, you can join My Art Sisters. If you're not quite ready, you're not sure what we're all about, go on over. You'll see on the tab where it says My Art Sisters. Click on it. You can read, see some of the things we've done in the past, what you'll find in the library ready for you to go. You can also join my little art village. That is an area where it's easy for people. Thanks, Sue. You're a great person to be stuck with. Thank you. You can go to the art village, the little art village, and click around on there. If you go to the little camper one has a free video in there right now that you can go ahead and do a project that's in that, and camper two. And then the template for this project, whether you want to make the full project that I just did, or you would like to just trace, print it off as a coloring page, that will be in camper number 3. So go ahead and you can get to that easily, myartsisters.com, and click there and you'll get right to the little art village to find that. So 2 ways to get there, kathyfreemanart.com or myartsisters.com. You can find it easily. All right. Thanks for joining me. I'll be popping on again tomorrow before I close the doors, just to say a few things. Look for emails that are coming to you if you're on my email list. If you're not on my email list, then please join the email list. That you can find kathyfreemanart.com. Okay. Have a great day. And remember, keep filling up those creative energies by doing something fun all the time. Have a great day.